finding out how players at Academy feel, a little bit of trivia in terms of where they've been, and I have one player specifically that I have in mind. So let's go ahead and bring up the graphic of who's that Academy player, and I'll start listing off a little bit of trivia here for you guys. So,
I feel like I know who that is.
Real
Right.
general, because Cubby. Don't you know what? Don't stop. All right,
Okay, I was just saying,
trivia, okay?
if you want me to.
But if you guys guess it, we'll still go through the trivia.
I want to like be able to get my answer in before, and then we'll see. So that way.
All right, fine.
Because I want to be able to say I got it totally
got?
just off the silhouette. It's Darshan, right?
Yes, it is Darshan. So let's go ahead and reveal Darshan. Man, he has too good of a silhouette. I just seem to have like a blank silhouette
look how
for these.
distinguished. You just can't argue.
He is.
I was about to say,
I mean, he is
how do you
Mr.
not know
President.
the silhouette
Like,
of the
come
president of
on.
the Players Association. What were your
One
trivia?
of the most recognizable faces in all of the LCS and beyond.
Man, I
have
had
so
so
much
much
trivia.
trivia.
Give some of the trivia, so yeah.
We're gonna go through it. So the first one, I was saying I was going to start off on a very general. I was going to say he's born in Canada and has golden vocal cords because the dude is insane. You see like the post-game show where he's doing the karaoke. Wonderful, and all the wonderful poster and worlds.
Did you see his Take Me to Church early on this?
Yes,
great.
Exactly. So another one I got is his first pentakills in 2021.
That would have thrown me.
But I feel like you guys probably
Well, I
would
just would have assumed
really?
Darshan got a penta earlier than 2021, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think. I had the often referred to as Mr. President. This one was really cool, and I was excited to see if maybe Mark could get a hang of it. But part of the Season 3 World Championship Analyst Desk. So I didn't know. I actually didn't know.
I wouldn't know. I mean, there were a lot of famous players who did the analyst test back then, like the double lift.
There were,
was
right?
Pretty well remembered. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely forgot Darshan was part of that as well. So I was really excited to see. I was like, oh, this is gonna be sweet. His favorite champion is Rumble. Apparently to League PA. Maybe that's changed, but I thought that was kind of cool.
So wait, is that the only silhouette that we have, or?
Yes, it's literally just one.
When you told,
I just wanted to talk about Darshan.
You said we have 13 trivia points.
I thought
trivia facts about Darshan.
I thought it was like 4 players and like 3-ish each. I didn't realize you had 13 trivia about Darshan. Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. So longest stint on any team was 4 years and 5 months. Who do you think that was?
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. He was a founding member of Good Game University and went on to play on Team Coast before they were in relegation. I thought that was pretty self-explanatory.
Him,
that one would have been like
Shifter and all those. I remember that team.
Yep. Dignitas was his first franchise LCS team. He has been playing since 2012, so 10 years. That's a long time for a player, and to still be popping off like this is absolutely incredible. His original team was Mono Maniacs.
I love the names of some of the original teams.
Meat Playground.
Right?
Anyone remember Meat Playground? Picture of a goose.
Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, I'm getting some feels of that in amateur now, right? When we have like Ginger Turmeric and we have like weird, different, wacky teams along the lines of like what we see coming through amateur. It feels good to have some of the that
I'm
prior LCS
more academy
feeling.
or excuse me, amateur teams don't just try and get like sponsored by like a local restaurant. Like, hey, you give me free chicken wings. I put you know your main chick, hot chick. Here you go. You know.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I'll name my team name main chick, hot chick, and then we get free chicken.
All right, then I got a serious question. Is it worth trying? Because I haven't tried it yet.
Worth trying, in my opinion.
I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? They're gonna say no.
I've heard amazing things. True. Exactly. And I think, this is a marketing ploy for all you amateur teams out there. Make sure you get good branding, get some good food as well.
Hot Chick freaked me out because I ordered from them and then they delivered with a bot and I don't know how I got up my stairs. And to this day, I don't know the answer.
Well then, AI aside, I guess hopefully you'll be safe from the bots, Cavi. But I do hear we are ready for Champ Select for game number 2 of this series. So take it away to FlyQuest Academy versus Cloud9 Academy.
Thank
game
you,
number 2.
Mazel. Getting into champion select for the second game of this matchup. If I don't make it to Summoner's Rift, Mark, it's because the bots have come and taken over my apartment and have removed me. So if you're left in your lonesome, you'll know why.
Yeah, I didn't know robots delivered food.
Yeah,
I knew
I did it through a delivery app, and they said, oh, a bot will be delivering for you. And I said, oh man, that means I'm gonna have to go outside because there's not a person to like click the keypad for me to let them in to drop it off at my door. And I never got a call. I never got anything. It said delivered, and it was in front of my door on the 2nd floor. So
interesting.
Don't know what to tell you.
Interesting. I want to try to order from a bot now. Because I've never experienced it. I also feel like I wonder what it feels like to get like I want like the knock. You don't get the awkward handoff. You don't get like any of the human interaction. That sounds pretty good to me.
All of my notes just say though, they say, don't knock. I have dogs. Don't worry. I tip well. Leave it at door, please. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Is pretty much the note for all of mine. It's the way I like it. And that's why, you know, we're casters of the video games. We don't actually have to see people or do anything like that. We just get to look at champions on a Rift.
Yeah, it actually bothers me that we have to use webcams and we can't just be, 3D VTubers. I want to become the first VTuber caster. Actually, is what my goal is going to become for Academy in the future.
If
Anyways,
anyone can do it, it's League because of all the VR stuff. But yeah, back to the game at hand before we go on some, big meta apocalypse robot takeover. Cloud9 was taking over the first game of this matchup between FlyQuest. So FlyQuest are hoping to bounce back and bring this to a draw again. Their fate is not entirely in their hands when it comes to making it in the top 6, and they did lose that first game. So I imagine that will have a heavy impact, but you do still want to continue with that momentum before the matches that you play, whether in play-ins or beyond. So looking to see what they bring through.
Yeah, I think it's Doom now. So they were heading into the day, 14 wins, 20 losses, and the team that they were trying to catch was Dignitas at 16 and 18. There was 2 games ahead, so I think they need to 2-0 and Dig needs to 0-2. So I think for now, FlyQuest is probably ending up, I'm almost certain, in the play-in portion of Proving Grounds. But like you said, still want to head in there with some momentum. If you can take a game off Cloud9, that'll feel good. I think you can see that they have the playmaking to do it. It's about actually executing their game plan, not picking every fight that you can take, but actually picking the right ones. I think FlyQuest got a little baited into some engages there, and hopefully they can bounce back a little bit. I think you could also pick an easier to execute comp. Jace Rise, notoriously difficult to execute. That's one of the quintessential NA Jace comps. That's very hard to play. So, if you just want to try and find the win here against Cloud9, go with something not necessarily more standard, but lower execution.
Well, and when looking at their first game yesterday against 100 Thieves and the victory overall, it was with a Malphite pick where it was very straightforward. We want to get to that team fighting later on. We want to follow up on that engage, bing, bang, boom, and get it done. So maybe we'll see them revert in that kind of direction here versus Cloud9. Still continuing to vary up the bands a bit from FlyQuest. We mentioned that a lot of the teams have taken the tactic of just, triple or even sometimes quad banning the jungle position. But when you're on the last day of Academy, you want to try and practice against as many comps and things as possible and be prepared for all. And this means over on Cloud9 side, they get that Jinx lock in right up the top. Jinx versus Aphelios. Tale as old as season 12 time.
Yep, this time a little less weird with the 80 carry picks and bans. Just the staple bot lane matchup in the current meta of spring taken right away. And we'll have to see if this will be better or worse for King, because the funny thing about Ezreal is just such a great champion to just kind of not get a ton of help and be able to run through fights and just pick up kills. And I think King has actually been popping off really hard this last week of Academy thus far. He's done it on Jinx, Zeri, Ezreal. This time getting the Jinx again. We'll see if he can kind of be that stable force for Cloud9 when the fights start getting messy.
Though, because UG has locked in Lee Sin, I do have to channel my Rafa from yesterday. UG, why no Zed? Why not play the Zed jungle in the last days of Academy? I'm so sad. I'm going to cry. I hope I did Rafa proud.
I hope you did. I feel like it's because they're still practicing for the Proving Ground tournament and are not throwing it all away. Because he's probably not going to play Zed in Proving Grounds. That's just my guess. But I do like the Lee Sin Ahri combination split I was kind of talking about with Spyrax and Yuji comboing together well, especially on the Ahri pick. They did that yesterday, and we'll see if they can abuse copy again today, given that they also get to ban out a couple of the mid laners that they would want to take this into. You can see the Ahri taken away already.
UG deathless on that Lee Sin game in that first game against 100 Thieves. Spyrax playing Ahri in both and looking really good on the pick. So now getting to return to what has worked for them in the past. And alongside that, trusted bot laner as expected. So going through the last rounds of bans here, it's more of that mid lane targeting, being that there is no mid laner locked in for the Cloud9 side just yet. Sticking with the Hecarim, you got the TK. Nautilus last man again. No Jace for Philip this time, but it looks like they're going for an overall different strategy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more standard for FlyQuest, not any less early game focus, but a little bit less all indexed into the 1-3-1 and winning lanes, especially with, I am assuming, a support Zilean.
Yes,
most likely.
Diamond's played Zilean 3 times so far.
Well, there you go.
Split.
It's not even that weird then. It's probably something into the TK. As long as you can avoid yourself getting knocked up, which isn't too hard if you have your speed up to move yourself out of there. The Tahm Kench is not particularly high pressure. If he tongue lashes you and tunnels in and can kind of run you down, it can be annoying, but I think it's not quite as threatening, and so able to sneak in the Zilean pick there, and it's a very strong support if you get out of lane phase.
And still unsure of what the top lane pick is going to be for FlyQuest. C9, bring out the Gnar, always a safe direction to go, especially when in the hands of someone as skilled and versatile as Darshan. Also picking up the Vex, which means you have that extra level of potential engage from your mid laner alongside that damage output. And haven't seen as much Vex as of late, but still a very straightforward pick for C9 to be going for. And then FlyQuest finally lock it in. Camille, last pickup for Philip.
And this is exactly what I was talking about. It's a similar idea of wanting to skirmish mid, transfer that power top into a winning matchup. Philip can get that counter pick, but it's less all in on 1-3-1 and just lane domination. You still are going to get outscaled by Cloud9's comp here, but Camille can team fight a little bit easier. Ahri, Lee Sin, combined with the Camille, is just about eliminating someone instantly in a team fight versus totally just avoiding the team fight. So FlyQuest, again, want to pick on Darshan, and it's going to be about if they can find those opportunities and windows. And, it's a nice team fight again for Cloud9. Very straightforward team comps that are very powerful. And I feel like a lot of the top teams, I feel like in Academy right now, are prepping for Proving Grounds by taking more standard-ish things, because when you go into the Proving Grounds, you can expect to see more, not cheese, but more unique strategies thrown your way. There's opponents you haven't played before. You don't know all their tendencies coming in from Academy, or excuse me, from Amateur and stuff. And so if you can get really good at Standard, those are picks that are standard because they deal with everything extremely well. And if you can execute standard comps, you're going to do well in a long tournament.
Bringing the variables to a minimum overall when the stakes are at their highest. And that's something that, especially on the side of FlyQuest, you're looking into when you're facing off against play-ins where a single series can end your stride. Cloud9 being towards the top do have a bit more of that room to work with, but still, when you're looking at their performance as of late, while clearly one of the top teams, clearly very strong, a lot of talent there, they do still have punishable moments. So you want to shore those up as much as possible, especially when you're not getting that practice together as a squad as often outside of the stage games.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for them. And I think I'm curious to see exactly how Cloud9 wants to approach the Proving Grounds and what their goals are. I don't know if they've communicated those anywhere, but we do get a pause, unfortunately. I've been told a little bit of a delay getting into the game. We'll see exactly what that is. Hopefully get an update on what the cause is.
Yep. So as we are waiting that out, I know you just outlined some of the win conditions of these two comps, but is there one that you are favoring, or do you like the way that both of these teams have leaned into their styles?
I think I would classify myself as a little bit of a sinner. I enjoy comps that often have the agency in the game. I would like to be the one being pressed into executing well. And so in that sense, I do kind of like FlyQuest composition that should we'll see how the Vex Ari matchup goes. I watched one Academy. I can't remember which game I saw from Academy, but it went back and forth. And they were trading kills, but that was also because like junglers and supports kept showing up. So it's not like Ari auto wins the Vex matchup. I think there are opportunities for the Vex to find kills back and stuff like that. But assuming that the Lee Sin will be the more advantageous 2v2 skirmish around the mid lane, that should give priority to Spyrax and Yuji to then try and get topside, especially at 6 with Philip to make dives, kill Gnar, and put pressure on them. And then the Aphelios and Zillion just need to sit there and survive that matchup. So I do like the synergy within the comp for FlyQuest, but it's hard to argue with standard. I mean, standards for a reason. It's because like you have power positions across the board. They team fight extremely well. They also have good dive and like win cons in that sense where Gnar gets a Mega Gnar ult, Hecarim ults in top. Assuming the Vex into the first part of her ult, she can also go flying in. Jinx Rocket goes flying in. Like, it's all very good engage and tools that are good at team fighting. Even if the Zillion can kind of negate your first person you want to kill, most of those are AoE abilities and will still be damaging multiple people.
And even beyond that, going in and that initiation that Cloud9 can do, and you have someone like the TK, you cut off some of the vulnerability of a pick like Jinx, being able to just, hey, let me yeet you out of this for a little bit of time. Whereas on the opposite side for FlyQuest, you're always looking to lock down, the hyper carry in that regard. So we'll have to see if Cloud9 can end up piloting this as expertly as you expect a lot of them to do and have in the past, or if FlyQuest can offset this. Because, I mean, Diamond, yeah, if we're looking at Tomo and Diamond to just survive in the lane and just kind of chill there has been some variance in the way that Diamond has been playing the map within recent games. So does he lean into that, or is he going to try and contribute even more and more to Spyrax as he has within the recent series to get him online on that Ari pick, being so pivotal within the last matchup they had?
I think the Cloud9 team always has these little moments of volatility, it feels like, in their games, because they want to fight things. They're scrappy, and I think you can find them sometimes getting baited into fights that they shouldn't take, but I think that they are very good regardless. And we are back into the game.
Let's go. Back into game number 2, Cloud9 Academy taking on FlyQuest Academy. Last game, it was fairly even throughout the early game as far as gold goes, but then Cloud9 just able to make that face at them and punish some of the picks that they got in the mid game and late, and see if they can close this one out for a clean 2-0 against FlyQuest, or if FlyQuest can build some of that momentum going into play-ins.
Yeah, I think we talked a lot about it from FlyQuest perspective about momentum and going into play-ins, but I think for Cloud9 as well, it would be really nice to 2-0 them and kind of go in feeling good about themselves. I think as well as solidifying their priorities on these champions and Darshan getting put under a lot of pressure. I think it's going to be interesting to see how Cloud9 can handle it, given that there's so many veterans on their side, so many people with so much experience in competitive matches that you have to feel like they're going to do quite well this proving ground.
And a lot of members on Cloud9's side too that know that even if they believe that they're going to do well, you can't take any moment for granted, because Proving Grounds is fun for a lot of reasons, and one of them is I don't think we've had a single one so far without some major upset. Cloud9 being on the receiving end of that, I believe, in finals of spring 2021 when No Org, the very LCS experienced amateur roster at that, but still an amateur team, was able to take them down, and that's when Darshan and friends were still there. So they want to make sure that they are in clean form to be able to make the deep run that I'm sure they all believe that they can.
And here we go. Nice early trading a little bit from FlyQuest. Hard to contest the wave, but at least you can get some damage trades onto Isles. There you see Diamond just slinging those little, I don't even know what he throws, like they're gears or something that he's throwing at the catfish.
Little cogs, I think. Talking about like kind of the hexagon shape.
Yeah, whatever he throws. I don't know what he's throwing.
Bolts. Can you tell I haven't spent that much time in a garage in recent times?
I blame more the visual clarity than your knowledge of mechanical parts.
Yeah, I'm like, I can work some tools pretty well, but can't make out that piece there. Oh, Philip wall dive off the hook shot just to answer some of the poke from Darshan, being on Gnar, where you can poke down with those ranged autos and just trying to punish as much as he can when he's in that effective state. Lockdown onto King, and that's the harass that you want to see from Zilean in lane. We've seen so much Zilean in mid lane as of late that this brings me back to classic times of just support.
Really, I missed Zilean top no farm with the support item. That's my favorite form of Zilean.
XD.
So here we go. First clear completing for both junglers. Malice, of course, ending up around his bot lane. Like we said, should be the part of the map that has the pressure for him. Really doesn't want to bump into the Lee Sin too early on. And usually getting up into this matchup early, the Gnar can win against Camille early if you play it really well. And like you're talking about with that hook shot that was connected for Philip, you do got to play proactively in the matchup for the Camille. Otherwise, if you just sit back and try and like sweep as your only form of trading, you tend to get chunked out pretty heavily. So the fact that he was able to trade aggressively, get the push, allow usually to actually get up there and get the scuttle crab, and knowing that Malice is on the bot side of the map also allowed Philip to play that nicely early lane phase for Camille, because the counter pick really doesn't turn on until 6.
Great awareness from Darshan too, though, because even with UG hovering out there, you could see the Spidey sense tingling. There we go. Darshan stepping up to make sure that he warded that, recognizing that the wave was getting freezed up in a position. So now teleport utilized by Philip just to get that quick back and return to lane so he doesn't miss out too much on any of this farm right here. And meanwhile, down bot, that lane pushed in effectively. Tomo and Diamond using their range to the full potential.
Spider tense singling is still technically 3 words that work together.
Spider tense singling.
It just doesn't make much sense. Anyways, yeah, the initial part of this game might be a little slow outside of this potential pickoff. We'll see if Juju can make it work.
Yuji hanging on by, sweeper by Malice, so he saw the shadow, but not entirely sure how quickly Spyrax was going to make it through, and no eyes on Diamond. So with the multiplicity of Fly members that are here in the jungle, no point to push it.
Nice idea by Yuji, trying to camp out Malice on his second clear of his route. Knowing that he cleared top to bot and is just going to go do another full clear, you kind of cut him off early there. It does mean that you fall a little bit further behind because you had to give up your opportunity to clear camps while doing it, but that's what Lee Sin wants to do anyway. So I like the idea there. Probably would not find a kill given that both are full HP and there's no 6 on UG either. But trying to get proactive, trying to make something happen on the map. And this is what I was talking about with the mid lane matchup. It can get pretty dicey when both people start getting chunked out. Spyrax has a little bit more of an advantage with healing off the wave with the Ahri passive. But, you know, the trades can be good. Here we go.
Boy. Hook shot into wall dive. Flash returned for Flash. First blood for Philip. Really rewarding the poke that Spyrax threw down prior.
Philip doing a great job getting out on the map and finding an opportunity to get that early kill. It does cost him a lot of HP, so he has to go back, and during that time Darshan is getting a freeze on, so he'll fall behind lane a little bit. But this is what we wanted them to do, be proactive. We were talking about people from mid going up top, but you can also do it the other way around, and that worked out very well. The Vex Ahri matchup feels like it always ends up super volatile and influenced by whoever can gank it first, and that is definitely in FlyQuest's favor.
And the 2v1 down here, Baka's Diamond hasn't yet made his way back, means that the side of Cloud9 can get that heal off of Tomo as well.
Nice little advantage in their favor. King expended his, I believe, as well. So not actually a summoner advantage, but a little bit of tempo now to try and control and get some wards out on the bot side.
And we're at 6:37 in the game, which means the Drake is up and starting to get some of the action down. A couple licks of the tongue onto UG, one away from the full stun. Spyrax coming from the opposite side gets the charm onto Malice and throwing out the orb and the Foxfire too. UG follow-up flashes away, but is not enough. King damage too good for the 2 kills in favor of C9 right now. They have the numbers advantage, which means they can get the Scuttle Crab and take the dragon.
Nicely done there by C9, winning that skirmish, converting it into a dragon. But for a second, I thought FlyQuest was going to win that one. There was a nice interrupt on the Isles tunnel in. He was going to get a double knockup that got stopped, and I thought from there they might be able to chase it down. But the rest of Cloud9 just playing that fight out a little bit better. And usually I feel like expected himself to have 6 when he kind of W'd on top of King there and then just had to run out. A little bit of a strange start to that fight. This is right after he does the W's in, has to run out. The double bomb interrupting Isles there, and then I thought this charm would maybe set something else up, but there's just not any spells by the rest of the team to make anything happen. So usually feels pressed to go in there and find a kill, but you know, he wasn't 6 at the time. Just gets exploded when he went in. So Cloud9 off to an early lead there.
Yep. Follow up not good for Fly, which means that Cloud9 can soar from that and start that early dragon stacking that they love to do in multiple games. This tends to be their priority. Yes, of course, even more so in that, one Shyvana game, for instance, that we saw from Cloud9 for good reason, but always managing to execute on that bot side and feeling pretty good about it here against FlyQuest.
Yep, FlyQuest are going to need to find a way to get their focus back onto the top side now. I mean, that skirmish in bot lane wasn't really what their win con was anyways, as we were kind of talking about. So let's see if they can reestablish their focus onto Darshan. There's no flash for usually. Philip used his in the mid lane situation, so it's going to take a couple of attempts, assuming Darshan plays this well, to before he's going to end up getting killed, unless they can straight 100 to 0 him through chain CC.
And the Herald is up too, so something that you're keeping your eyes on as a jungler. UG already over towards that top side, whereas Malice continuing to farm up as he loves to do down bot. Control wards also to make sure that no FlyQuest members step up into his territory while UG tries to make this play up towards top. Darshan locked in the Hextech ultimatum, throws him away with the ultimate, so a great response from him to stay alive.
Body blocked by the minion there, stopping the Q from Lee Sin from connecting. I think he would have been safe anyways. He didn't even have to burn his flash there. Darshan ends up half HP from a gank attempt that also costs double ults out of the FlyQuest side. Yeah, he's Mininar now, so they can potentially do it, but he still has that flash and hop available.
Yeah, waited for the wave to push in, hook shot, flash answered, but the lockdown still good. Darshan goes down.
Loses the game of chicken there. Philip, great job hanging onto the wall, waiting to see if Darshan would flash, and then targeting where he ends up going, and that was all they need to find that kill. Made that one work, despite the fact that I was a little hesitant about if it would actually happen or not, given the flash being up.
Great patience indeed from Philip. That makes all the difference when wanting to take down Darshan, who is so well versed in a lot of these matches here. But we'll see what they can get off of that, because UG now has the room to take this Rift Herald. Malice is still over towards bot and even potentially going back at this time. So no contest to be had, and FlyQuest can build up a win condition.
So this is about snowballing this now, because you still have to worry about the Jinx is getting a little bit further ahead, the Vex is getting a little bit further ahead, the Hecarim is getting a little bit further ahead. C9 still have the gold lead, especially combined with those kills. But if you can get the Camille strong enough that she becomes this monstrous threat, that's when you can actually start taking over the game, and you have the ability to 4-1 with your composition a little bit stronger than C9 side, and you can really find a lot of pickoffs with this composition with the Ahri camping in brushes and stuff like that.
Surprise charm. Not all charms are good. At least in the game of League of Legends, especially if they come from a bush or something of the like. But continued standoff from Copy and Spyrax will be who we watch at the later portions, who's going to have that greatest impact in the fights, while Darshan hand in hand with Philip right up top in Mega Gnar farm. Spyrax is here for the play. Another charm onto Gnar, and UG is here for the additional attention if needed. FlyQuest want to shut him down and get Philip into a powerful position. Copy a nice spear and the follow-up here for Malice with the ultimate too. So they do get the trade onto Spyrax as Philip wants to go for more. Throws down the Hextech ultimatum onto Copy, but has to retreat because he's so low. The last slice for Malice isn't enough to take him down though.
Okay, so back and forth, 1 for 1. Not that big of a deal at the end of the day, especially considering that during this time, King is getting some alone time on this turret, get some turret plates back into his pocket. But initially, I was going to criticize, as Diamond, a little bit dicey there, I was going to criticize Darshan being a little bit pushed up with no wards in his back pocket, but the rest of Cloud9 was trying to make their way up there, knowing he was probably going to get ganked while that wave was going in. It was just slightly mistimed by Cloud9. If they could have been there to actually counter out that 3v3, they also have a very strong, skirmish potential. If they can find one target and blow them up, you can see how much they can do when they absolutely exploded Spyrax there.
And going at it again, the continued scrap here up top, Darshan and Philip. Darshan and Mini, he's trying to work that rage up as much as possible to get into Mega Gnar form, and gets in it just in time. The stun onto Philip. Philip really wanted to finish him off, but couldn't quite get there.
Yeah,
Ooh,
that was
UG though.
Dicey, and Yushi's trying to help protect him if the wave gets in. Ooh.
Slam into the wall. Adaptive defense is doing Philip some good, and UG, because he has the Rift Herald, he can immediately hop on over of this Dragon's Rage off onto Darshan, follow up with the Sonic, and there you have it. Finally take down Gnar.
Okay, so it was a little dicey there. He usually played that one differently than I thought he would. Philip getting the damage actually gave him the shield on the wall stun to keep him alive there. That was huge that his passive came back up to kind of protect him from Darshan. I think Darshan did the right thing there and try and just finish off the Camille before the Lee Sin gets in there, because afterwards you can see it's pretty easy for them to find that kill.
Yeah, differently way played up, but over here on bot, King in a bit of trouble. Tomo throws out the ultimate, but now he's got the burn down. Even with the lick from TK, do you really even need at that point? Malice and Copy on the opposite side. Double kill for the Jinx with the teleport coming in from FlyQuest, but it's a little too late. Just here to hold the wave.
The double kill from King's rocket popping off there. Again, King finds himself getting kind of fed this game. 3-0-1, tied with the Camille, up 40 CS over what is going to be the other threat in the game in Philip. You know, he's actually really strong right now. And I really like Cloud9 flipping away from the bot top side to the bot side, like play around King here. And even though, you know, the resurrect comes through, it doesn't really, you know, help reset the situation at all. They instantly find that double kill. Super well done there.
It's kind of that, do we want to try and diminish the impact of Philip, or do we want to get our King nice and swole and get that crown really heavy going into the later portions of the game? And that's exactly what they have started doing. Meanwhile, on the jungle side, though, FlyQuest getting spotted out because there was a ward. They ended up sweeping it here. Some contest over by Red, and Copy from the lane gets pushed back with the ultimate. Here's a ult from Malice to get into it, though. Another Hextech ultimatum to lock the jungler in place. Double stun onto Heat and Isles, but Darshan is wrapping around from the opposite side. They target Philip. They claim that bounty. They take 2 members of FlyQuest and now have their own reign.
Nice collapse there by Cloud9. Starting to eke out the leads in this game, pulling away. Darshan, despite getting targeted, one of the things that makes him so good is finding ways to be helpful to his team there. You know, moving after the push to go and try and protect his team around mid lane. They make that one happen. And now you can see how much gold King has. 6,000. You know, it's about the same as Philip, but it's just going to be really hard to see if Philip can find dives, given that there is this Tom Kench. Here we go.
Oh, so Tomo getting targeted by Copy over in the mid lane. Meanwhile, Diamond's getting slapped by Isles towards this jungle side, and Yuji making his way over towards that mid lane skirmish means that Copy has gotten low. Isles now down and out of it. Malice from the jungle side as well. Just a bit of a split off between the skirmishes that are going on between these two teams. Hookshot from Philip to get over the wall, and Malice is in some trouble right now. Multiple members of FlyQuest to chain him down to the ground, and 3 down for Cloud9 for the one lost in Diamond.
This is exactly what I talk about with Cloud9 Academy. Every time I feel like they're like running away with the game, they start making some mistakes like this and just give opponents ways back into the game. Just skirmishes left and right all over the place before they finally, you know, give a bunch of kills back. And King, I gotta respect it, man. He's like, you guys don't scrim with me. I am not sticking around. I'm gonna reset. Screw both of you. I'm out of here.
I'm spending all the time on my lonesome during the week. I'll do it on the Rift too. And it works out. There's a lot of reliable skill in this bot laner, especially as the hyper carry.
Yeah, and so here you see just not as much damage. Copy didn't have as much damage as he thought he did there. Ends up dropping. And from, or not quite dying, but, you know, not able to find that kill and allows them to have this in. He just get finished off by this turret. Oh, no. Wait, I don't know why we're... Oh. Okay. Green gun, purple gun, raining some havoc there. So that was Copy's death in that whole sequence. So I didn't even realize he dropped because it was split map all over the place about where people were dying.
It was so split. It was a little bit of support on support action on one side, mid and jungle over towards mid, and now maybe another skirmish. A bit of the bait here. The Hextech gates being used. Philip in pursuit actually ushers out the onslaught of shadows from Malice. So with the jungler having such key utility and effect down here, that means that FlyQuest feel much more agency in taking this Rift Herald, but instead decide to peel off of it, noticing the rotations of Cloud9 towards this mid.
Little surprised to see them just sack Rift Herald there, trying to get mid control. I'm not actually even sure what they were panicked over. Dragon's up in 20 seconds. I feel like you could have potentially just finished off that Rift Herald and then dropped it and then moved down here. But I guess they felt pressed to want to set up ahead of time and really make sure that they stopped this stacking out of Cloud9, because that was something that was going wrong for them in the previous
decided, oh, okay, well, you didn't take Rift Herald. You want to take this dragon. We can afford to delay that stacking just a bit and can now award ourselves the advantage that could have previously been yours. So FlyQuest, yes, they get the dragon, but Cloud9 still walk away with something.
Yep, Cloud9 able to trade away. I mean, this is one of the things that's nice that Cloud9 does well is find opportunities to stem the bleeding a little bit, even though they're not like losing the game, you know, to say we don't really feel strong enough given that Malice just lost his ultimate to actually fight for that third dragon. Let's just go find our own little advantage, get this Rift Herald, and get some more gold onto the different members of our team. I wonder who they're going to put it onto, because King feels off the ground. I'm not sure you need to keep snowballing him. Do you try and stabilize Darshan's lane with that? Do you try and make Copy a little bit more of a one-shot threat by getting some gold onto him? Or do you just use it to break mid because it's the last turret up? We'll have to see.
And Darshan is still waiting to, you know, really have that pop up. He's had some great moments on the flanks earlier on when he was making those rotations. And if he can utilize him fully in the team fights, is something that Cloud9 can really capitalize. And on FlyQuest side, they're still looking at Philip as a threat. While he did go down in one of those recent skirmishes, still very strong on this Camille. If you can get the proper target isolation, as he has chosen Malice in the past, and picks like that, but we'll see if they make a play here.
Yeah, not quite set up in a 1-3-1, using his pressure actually to control this mid lane turret as he's going to threaten King. Actually going to go in.
Yeah, they know the threat that King poses, but Tahm Kench has a way to protect him in those moments. So as soon as the Camille ultimate goes down, Isles responds with the Devour of his own.
Yeah, they just didn't see that the Tahm Kench had moved back from potentially being up in the top side. They were trying to get over it in that like rotation before the Tahm Kench could get back. But they didn't have a ward over the wall that you kind of see sometimes behind the tier 2 or like next to the tier 2. So didn't know he was there, but it still bought space for Tomo to finish off that turret and get a little bit more gold in their back pocket. Philip's ult will be up relatively quickly as well, so you don't mind using it there.
Darshan's getting collapsed upon by Philip and Diamond, but Isles and the rest of C9 are also in pursuit, so this could be a dangerous situation. FlyQuest call upon the TP so they can make this a 3v4, but they're still outnumbered. Philip has to use the hook shot into the wall dive to get to the rest of the team. Ultimate thrown out by Malice, but FlyQuest, they retreat instead.
Okay, I just said that not having his ultimate was not a big deal for Philip there. Could have used it right then as, oh my god, Diamond almost got exploded. But I'm surprised to see them trying to take fights without their ultimates. I feel like FlyQuest are rushing a little bit there. You know, like, okay, we made a good play to grab the turret. Do we reset? Do we just get our lanes pushing again? Like, no, let's fight again immediately right away. And that can get pretty dicey. So slow it down a little bit here. You guys are doing well. Philip is super fed. He has a monstrous threat this game and actually play around his timing windows as opposed to just fight every time you can jump on someone.
And that seems to be one of the biggest difference makers when you're looking at the teams. Cloud9 being very quick in making a decision whenever a play happens. You can argue if it's the right play or not, but just going for a play in terms of, oh, we go for the Rift Herald, we go for, you know, the top side. Philip taking on Darshan though, so I will pause that thought for a moment to see how this 1v1 goes. Ultimate once again, Darshan getting the knockdown and the knockback and the send into the wall, but Yuji and Diamond, they made their way to the party. Darshan leaps onto Diamond and sees if he can bring somebody down with him, but he cannot.
Nicely done there. Hold on.
Oh, Copy feeling good on the follow-up here. Nice elimination to trade over in mid lane, taking down Tomo.
Yeah, that was a bit of a saving play there by Copy to find that pick off onto Tomo, because then you're worried about, do they try and rotate up to the Baron and start forcing fights there? You know, Philip continues to get further and further ahead, but that was a really nice pick off onto Tomo to stem any potential follow-up from FlyQuest's side. And we're still kind of in this even game. Both games have been pretty close until one team found the back-breaking play. C9, I think they might have it here with a blind Baron start. No one is close, but FlyQuest is collapsing. Feels like they might be aware of it. There are some pings and TPs coming in.
And the control ward down for that one ward that did just expire anyways over on the red side. But Philip and the rest of FlyQuest know this is happening. Hookshot goes in, but the fear is good. They take down the top laner, and Spyrax is so squishy. How much can he do unless he goes for some damage over the wall? But it's Yuji that goes in first. Another response from Malice to take down the enemy jungler. And with 2 down on the side of FlyQuest, that means Cloud9 can claim the Baron.
Bit of a caster curse there, I guess you could say, talking about the back-breaking play. Cloud9 absolutely just found it right there, starting that Baron off. And even though FlyQuest had time to collapse, they had no vision, and you could see how difficult it was to know what angle to kind of get vision and try and suss out exactly how far Cloud9 was. That leads to the easy kill onto Philip, which means there's no real chance of a fight from there, and then usually goes down trying to steal it away, and this leads to the dragon, and Cloud9 are off to the races.
Philip previously 5-1 not long ago, now 6-2, so really just being able to get a singular kill in a lot of these skirmishes, but not in the way that you need for the carry to, well, carry the rest of your team through it, because Cloud9 just have a lot available to them, whether it's just even these fears that they're drawing out and throwing over at FlyQuest, and just the confidence in their plays to go for things like Baron Blind and really punish the lack of vision control that FlyQuest has had in these moments.
Yeah, it's just whenever you have a Camille down the bot side, you keep sending resources to help him, that means that the enemy team has time to get vision control, and Cloud9 understanding what their strengths are. Philip trying to find King here. Boy. Tom Kench is lurking, though. I feel like they know that this is a possibility by Cloud9.
And Spyrax is also in the vicinity alongside multiple members of Fly, but Toma was there mid lane. He ain't there no more. Cloud9 punishing him. So the rest of Cloud9 know, okay, they don't have that major damage output, so King can start firing away onto Philip. Tries to throw a charm on the opposite side. Mega Death Rocket goes through, doesn't quite land, but in the end, it's Cloud9 that are coming out on top in the fight. Spyrax just targeted the double kill to the jungler here. One more to take down before it's the ace, and Copy and Darshan are on the play. They achieve it. Cloud9 is online.
Cloud9 gonna go push down. They have a wave here. Baron buff. 30 seconds on Spyrax. Pomo's about to come up. We'll see how far they want to go here. Might just grab the inhibitor and back off, but they are officially in firm control of this game now. Copy has done a great job of finding kills onto Tomo whenever FlyQuest goes and puts attention down into Philip. Diamond's not there for the revive, and Copy has been picking on him. Now up to 6 kills himself in this game.
And Tomo not very happy about that matchup that he's found himself in time and time again, just because of the spread of these teams across. And Cloud9, feeling real good after this.
Yeah, you see them want to go into King right away, and just a little bit too well played. King able to flash out initially of the CC, then lands the roots, able to stop them from getting on top of him there, and survives without the Tom Kench even really helping him. That was mostly a 1-for-1 that he was able to take there, while the Cloud9 cleaned up the rest of the team of FlyQuest.
And now off of that, because that's a lot of gold that gets funneled over towards Cloud9 off of that ace. They've got a significant lead here, just under 8K. They have an inhibitor down. They've established aggressive vision up into enemy jungle territory. So they have that freedom, as you see right before your eyes, of moving and continuing to pressure FlyQuest, who are still hoping that Philip can get some work done with his side lane pushes, but you still have to worry about Darshan, who's always been there to answer.
Yeah, I feel like, there's maybe some desperation plays you can try and do around Philip that really pull Cloud9 apart, but at this point in the game, Darshan should be able to just withstand Philip. I think he understands his job is to not really win the game himself anymore. And you see Cloud9 getting pressure in the mid lane, getting pressure in the top lane, and eventually they will force FlyQuest to react to them. They also still have the teleports up for both top laners, so there's a possibility of both them having to join into a fight there. If not, it's Dragon in a minute and a half and you have bot inhibitor up. Cloud9 could slow play it and just set up for vision around here. I like this option, though. They're kind of collapsing onto Philip, making sure that he can't actually take any fights.
And Philip, he creates the distance from Darshan, but hey, if you escape one member, there's just 3 more members of Cloud9 here to take you down, stacking them kills on kills. The thrills are alive for the Cloud9 Academy fans out there watching them dominate in this game.
Yeah, this is the problem. Even when your split pusher gets super ahead in the 4-1, if the 4-man falls behind, they lose the ability to actually pressure, because there's such a long retreat path that you have to take to get back to safety. And there's the problem, just gets cut off there. Now without the strongest member of their team available, FlyQuest are back inside their base.
And that was a super wave pushing all the way through, so ushered from Darshan. While there's enough wave clear, when you have the remaining members of FlyQuest here, it's going to be coming into your base faster and faster based on the traditional wave, and then C9 can split over towards mid, take down that inhibitor turret to create that vulnerability next time they want to step up. And what do you know, Darshan now getting targeted by FlyQuest, but Cloud9 look like they're willing to make this sacrifice if needed. Copy is here to help, has Shadow Surge available to go in, but that's a big fight that you might be going into, the entirety of FlyQuest team. And since there's only 18 seconds on this Dragon timer, which will be Soul once again for Cloud9, they figure by keeping FlyQuest pushed up, they can set up for this objective.
I mean, it's still a bit of a disaster play to lose Darshan there. FlyQuest will be able to work their way into the river off that. It might be on Malice now to go for a Smite Steal. Maybe they can win the fight 4v5, but good decision by Copy not to get baited to go in there. Darshan played it well, but now he's dead, and it's up to the 4-man of Cloud9 to find a way for this Soul.
15 seconds until Darshan is up. Teleport available. Malice goes in but gets charmed. The Super Mega Death Rocket, a nice hit onto Spyrax, but he is still alive. Copy uses the Zhonya's Philip, zoned off by the rest of C9. So now Spyrax is effectively out of the fight. Diamond all the way blasted on down. Dragon slain and claimed in the middle of a quadra kill. King Online continues to be with that high damage output in these fights.
Alrighty, Cloud9 gonna be able to 2-0 FlyQuest off the back end of that. They don't need Darshan. Darshan's the weak side top laner for this game. It's all about Copy and King popping off. Malice as well having a pretty good game on his signature Hecarim. And they're gonna go into Proving Grounds with a lot of momentum.
Cloud9 Academy, so fun to watch for multiple reasons, and one of them being just how dominating they can be as a full force team when their confidence is through and through. A confident enough team to just throw themselves into the fountain for a little bit of extra spice. But now 2-0 for them against FlyQuest.
Yep, nice games there by Cloud9. They were not easy games, which I think is in some sense a better indicator of how well Cloud9 was playing, that FlyQuest took their opportunities in both their games. It was neck and neck for a little bit. Like I said before, there was this kind of back-breaking play. This time it was the Baron Force by Cloud9, and they were able to play the mid to late game situations better both times through. Their team fighting still looks really good, playing these ball comps in some sense. They're really just standard team comps. They're not even particularly focused on grouping up or trying to buff up a single member. It's not like double enchanters around the Hecarim. It's just about them playing well.
Cloud9 Academy continuing to prioritize standard, prioritize comfort, and it's working out for them so far as they finish off their last match in Academy. FlyQuest know what they need to work on and can bring that into their Proving Grounds experience in the future. We are going to soon have an interview based on this matchup, but we're kicking it to a break. We'll see you for that talky talk on the other side.
Welcome back, everyone. I am here with our post-game interview for our first series of the day, not night. It's a little bit too early for that one. As I am joined by Cloud9 Academy's Isles. Welcome, my friend. Welcome. It is the end of the regular season, so I'm going to give the floor to you. How does it feel to finish out the last game, even though there might be more games on the horizon?
It feels good, obviously. I think we've developed as a team a little bit more than, or like, I guess, to be completely honest, I think we've been struggling lately, and there have been some issues that we've been trying to iron out. And I feel like in these games that we just played, even though we won them fairly convincingly, I think some of those issues still showed. But I think the more that we speak amongst ourselves, and that's something that's been improving lately, we've definitely been getting better, and I think that's always what I will look forward to most, rather than just ending the split or something like that.
Absolutely. Well, I want to break down a little bit of that more so, I guess, because we obviously have seen your guys' playstyle, having made a big splash in the scene itself when Malice came in and having that be your guys' track record to some extent, the farming playstyle, late game macro. It seems like that has been lacking a little bit this last week, and seeing some of those late game fights go a bit rougher than you'd want. Still, obviously, you guys being able to pull through in most situations, but has there been a difference in terms of like how you guys are approaching it to go away from that style a little bit as we go to PG?
I just think stylistically right now, it's hard to find something that will always work. Right now, I just
Yeah.
feel like in the metagame, there's a lot of very strong picks. Like, there's Jinx, there's Ezreal Karma, there's Zeri, there's Hecarim, there's Ryze. Like, there's just so many champs that it feels like, usually I feel like one side has like a clear advantage on like a given patch, for example. But right now, it seems like a lot is left up to the teams, and more so than anything else, it's been hard for us to find like scenarios that are always good, if that makes sense. It always really depends,
Yeah.
like, spontaneously what the other team does. So it's kind of hard to map out your team comp before you see what they've banned. So I guess I would attribute some of what you're saying to that.
Yeah, hey, at least if you can always fall back on Malice farming every game, at least you have something stable in the series itself. I want to get a check in with you personally though on this season, right? It has been a long one. Been a lot of things for you to deal with as a support on the academy squad for Cloud9, and a lot of flexibility needed. How has this season been for you as a player?
Um, I think it's really hard to go into detail because obviously a lot of stuff happens behind the scenes. But I think we've been doing more work than other teams. Obviously, we are very actively involved with our main team. There's definitely content stuff that's going on behind the scenes. So I would say more so than anything, it's been really draining, especially
Yeah.
with the introduction of Champions Queue. Additionally, that's something that I'm looking forward to and gonna have to spend a lot of time doing. But yeah, I would just say it's draining. But obviously, that's part
Yeah.
of being a entertainer, being a competitor, and this is what I like to do. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I want to ask you then, how do you feel like you fit into the team? What do you feel like you brought to the table and like improved most on through the split?
Um, I think when you have players that have very contrasting ideas or different type of personalities, sometimes you have to be able to be the first one to say something or to be confrontational and be the one to take that first step forward, like just jump straight into the deep end. And I think behind the scenes, I've been leading my team more than I was expecting myself to. I think that's something that isn't necessarily what every team needs. Not everyone needs that person to like say one thing, but I think just getting everyone on the same page, making us more cohesive, is something that I've personally been trying to put more resources into.
I love it. Hey, some personal growth along the way as well, and being the guy that needs to step up in the moment to make sure everything's going the way you need it to. Are you, Isles? Are you proud of what you've done in 2022 so far? It's the beginning of a very long year, obviously, but it's 8 weeks in, man. Are you proud of what you've been able to accomplish?
Um, Not to be like a Debbie Downer in a way,
Hey,
but
honesty
I
is
think,
key, man.
yeah, I think to be completely honest, I think what we've showed so far is not what I would have hoped to have showed, if that makes sense. I think where we are is respectable, but I think my individual showings have been way below par. and I think some of my teammates would say the same as about themselves. I think the sum of our parts has been weaker than other teams, but like I think actually I think I misspoke, but I think individually we're
Yeah, I
all
think I get what
very
you
good.
mean.
Yeah, but cohesively and as a team and getting each other on the same page, finding out what drafts we want to do, I think we've been lackluster. So that's
Mhm.
something again that I've been working towards to try and make us more cohesive, make us a stronger team in that sense. And I think in these last 2 games, you've seen a glimpse of that, but I think there's a lot further to go.
Yeah, I'm so excited, right? We have PG right around the corner. So much more still, and hopefully you're not feeling too drained to be able to continue popping off some great performances. I want to give you one last bit. This will be the last interview for Cloud9 Academy in the regular split of spring 2022. Do you have anything to say to the fans of Isles, fans of Cloud9? Anything you want to leave on the table?
Pretty much this is the same thing I say every time. I think um, thanks so much to the people who continue to support us, especially despite the ups and downs, and I hope you continue to do so.
Thank you so much, Isles. It's always a pleasure to get to talk with you. Thank you. Enjoy the day.
Thank you.
Hopefully, you won't have too long of a night. We'll see about those tiebreakers, but I want to go ahead and bring back